Hello, welcome to Alchemy Animation. It is the sixth part of a series called My Messy Marriage. Let's begin. Soren was sitting in cafe. Her brother Seongjin came to her with lunchbox prepared by him. She asked, "Did you come by just to drop this off?" He replied, "Yes, Kang wanted some young summer radish kimchi." She said, "I had no idea about that." She was looking at him and thinking that do they talk to each other a lot? When did they become so close? Her brother said, "This is also for you." She asked, "Whoa. What's all this?" Her brother replied, "This is the food for Mom and Dad's memorial. I made a little extra this year." She said, "That's not just a little extra." Her brother said, "I know you tend to skip meals during this time of year. I brought you this to remind you to eat well." Soren thanks him and then asks, "Did you tell Kang about Christmas?" Her brother replied, "Yes, I did. Kang should know since he is our family now too." After hearing that, Soren lost in her thoughts and said nothing. After that, both of them leaving the cafe. Seongjin looked back at her and said, "Soren." She said, "Yes, what's now?" With a smile he said, "I am not going to cry this year, so you should not either. You have Kang now." After hearing those words, she smiled and said okay. At the office, Kang was in his cabin and thinking about earlier conversation with Seongjin when he was in Soren's house. At that time, Seongjin told Kang about their parents. Seongjin said both Mom and Dad passed away on Christmas, though not in the same year. I also injured my leg around December. So Soren finds this time of year difficult. Please take good care of her. Kang said, "Alright, I'll make sure to do that." Then Seongjin asked, "How is your married life?" Kang replied, "I am very happy. So much so that I am grateful to my grandfather for telling me to hurry up." Seongjin said, "I am glad to hear that." Kang asked, "Are not you lonely being single though? If you want, I could set you up with someone." Seongjin replied, No, I am good." With calm voice, Seongjin said, "Thanks for the thought, but I don't want to burden anyone. I would rather stay single than complicate someone's life with this leg of mine." Kang looked at him and, at current time, someone is calling Kang name. The person shouts his name with slammed the documents on table. Then suddenly Kang wake up from his thoughts and looked at the person. It was Rin. She said, "I am super busy. Stop spacing out and check the documents." Kang grabbed the documents and opened it. Then he looked at Rin and asked, "When are you going to tell Seongjin?" She said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You have got a pretty intense look on your face for someone who has no idea what I am talking about." She said, "This does not concern you. What do you care?" He said, "You think this does not concern me? When the father of your baby is my brother-in-law." Rin felt nervous and looking at him. Kang said, "Once the baby is born, they will be my niece or nephew, which means they will be my family." Rin was thinking something and said, "I already told you. I have no intention of telling him. Just pretend like you don't know anything." Kang said, "I am sorry, but I can't do that. I am going to be seeing Seongjin for the rest of my life, and the same goes for you." Then both of them looking each other. After that, Rin said, "He told me that he does not want to be with me." While saying that, she started to cry. Kang was looking at her. With crying face, she said, "Seongjin hates me." Kang was thinking that Seongjin said he does not want to be with her, even though she is someone he was intimate enough to have a child. There is no way he'd do something like that. And he remembered when Seongjin told him that he does not want to burden anyone. Rin was still crying and said, "What the hell I supposed to do? He does not want to be with me, and what do you want me to do?" Kang said, "Meet with him." After hearing that, Rin said, "Did you not hear what I just said?" Kang said, "Don't just assume things and jump to conclusions. Meet with him and have a conversation." Rin shouted, "How do you know that I am assuming these things? Just look at me. I have an awful personality. Of course he does not like me." With an angry look, Kang asked, "Are you scared?" Then suddenly Rin became nervous and said nothing. Kang said, "You are even prepared to raise that baby on your own. Why do you keep hiding? What are you so afraid of?" If you need help, just tell me. I am willing to do anything, since we are family now. After hearing those words from Kang, Rin's face became red. At the office, Soran was looking at the marriage contract and thinking that our story had such a ridiculous beginning, it should be okay to just delete this contract. She was very happy, but then suddenly she thought that I have to wait for it. I should ask Kang for his opinion first. On the other side, Rin was talking to Kang. She said, "Stop saying family this, family that, it's grossing me out. You and Miss Soran are only married on paper." But then Kang interrupted her and said, "I'm going to delete our contract." After hearing this, Rin was surprised. She said, "What?" Kang said, "There is no need for one because I'm married for love." After hearing this, Rin was shocked and Kang was smiling. Rin said, "Dude, wipe that smile off your face. You look like a murderer in a thriller movie." Kang said, "And you don't cry either, because you look like a ghost in a horror movie." After a while, someone was knocking on the door. It was Sunbae. He was saying, "Soran, I need to talk to you about the Shinjin Trading Company case." But she was not replying to him, so he again asked her, "Are you there?" "I'm coming in." And then he entered into the cabin. He saw that Soran was sleeping. He was thinking that she looks so beautiful. But it's weird, I have never seen her take a nap at work. I have not given her a lot of work either, since she tends to get a little down during this time of year. He came towards her and looked at the computer screen. He was thinking that what is that? And found that it was her marriage contract file. At the evening, Kang was holding a flower bouquet. The other women were saying that, "Wow, look at that guy. I think he is a celebrity. He looks so dreamy. It's like he stepped out of an artwork." Kang opened his eyes and looked towards their direction. The women were saying that, "Oh, he's looking this way, right?" Another woman replied, "I don't think he is looking at us. He was looking at Soran." With a blushy face, Soran was thinking that, "Oh my God, listen up everyone, that man is my husband. He is listed as my spouse on my resident registration form." She rushed towards him and thinking that I love him and he loves me. At night, both of them were sitting on the restaurant. Kang asked, "I'm not sure if you like French cuisine." Soran replied, "I'm open to anything as long as it tastes good." Kang was glancing at her and thinking that she seems cheerful, but she can't fully hide the sadness in her eyes. He remembered when he spoke with her brother. At that time, her brother said, "Both of our parents passed away on Christmas, though not in the same year." Currently, Kang was thinking that I don't think I should bring up celebrating Christmas. Soran said, "I know tomorrow is Christmas, but I have to go somewhere. I am really sorry. I booked it a very long time ago, so I can't cancel it." Kang asked, "You have to go somewhere?" She replied, "Yes, to a temple for a stay." He asked, "A temple on Christmas?" She said, "I'm sure my brother has already told you, but it happened on Christmas Day. At that time I complained about the cake to my mom. I said I wanted an ice cream cake instead of that fruit cake. So after calming me down, my mom went to get me an ice cream cake. But when she was returning to the home, she got involved in an accident, and then she passed away. At the current time they returned to their home. Soran was laying on her bed. She was crying and remembering her parents. Kang was standing outside the door and thinking that Soran must be feeling immense grief. I wonder if I will be able to understand even half of what she's going through. I'm sure even half is too much to ask for. I hope that this painful day will end quickly. On the next day, Soran reached to the temple, and after looking at the decoration, she was thinking that it's nice the two religions have come together. Even the temple is full of Christmas cheer now. Everyone was celebrating and taking a selfie. She was thinking that it did not used to be like this. These festive decorations defeat the purpose of me coming here. I should have just stayed home with Kang. And then she was sitting on a bench and thinking that I miss him. I wish I had not left him all alone for Christmas. I should have spent the day with him. But then someone was stepping towards her. She was thinking that I can hear his footsteps. He walks with a steady pace that is neither fast nor slow, and I can even recognize his breathing. So she looked behind her and found that Kang was standing there. She was thinking that I can feel all of this because I'm so deeply in love with him. She stood up and asked Kang, "What are you doing here?" He replied, "I miss you." After hearing this, she started to cry very badly. Kang said, "I had to see you because I've missed you so much." And then both of them started to hug each other. While hugging him, she was remembering all of the earlier incidents. Kang said, "Go on, let it out. When you feel like crying, you should just let it all out." She looked towards him and asked, "I looked like a mess, don't I?" He said, "Yes, you do, but you're still beautiful in my eyes. So I only wanted you to cry when you are with me. From now on I will be here for you through all the ups and downs, so cry all you want, but only in my arms." And then she was remembering the image in which her mother was standing outside of their restaurant. She said, "Hey sweetie, mommy was waiting for you." After hearing this, with a crying face, she started rushed towards her and hugged her. She said, "I'm sorry, mommy." Her mother asked, "Why are you apologizing?" "My sweet Soran, you have grown into such a strong, kind-hearted person. How will you remember Christmas Day now?" And then the adult Soran was standing behind the child Soran. Both of them were smiling and said, "As the day Kang came and found me." After a while, Kang, Soran and her brother were looking at the image of her parents. Soran said, "I think I will be able to enjoy Christmas now, because I have Kang by my side." Kang bowed towards her parents' image and said, "I'm sorry for not coming to say hello sooner. My name is Kang. I will make sure to fill Soran's life with happy memories. I can promise you that." Both Soran and her brother were looking at him and smiling. Her brother said, "I have few more things to say to Mom and Dad. You mind waiting for me outside?" Kang said, "Sure, of course." Soran replied, "We will wait in the car." When they were leaving him, Kang was looking at her brother. Both of them came outside and Kang said, "I feel like your brother is lonely." Soran replied, "Well, that's why I tried to set him up on dates. But he always turned them down. I have never seen him date anyone, so I don't even know what his type is." Kang said, "I'm pretty sure he has eccentric taste in women. Very, very eccentric." Soran did not understand what Kang was saying, and then Kang said, "Soran?" She replied, "Yes." He looked towards her and said, "I think that tonight." And then he stopped saying. Soran's heart started to beat very fastly, and with a blushy face she was looking at him. He said, "Tonight, tonight," but then suddenly his phone started to ring. He picked up and said, "What is it?" And then he cut the call and said, "Looks like there is a problem at the Jeonju factory. I will have to head down there today." Soran said, "You travel for work pretty often?" He replied, "I have no choice since dealing with issues is part of my job." She was looking at him and thinking that I wonder what he was going to say about tonight. What is something newlyweds do at night? She was sitting on her bed and thinking about what he said, and with a blushy face she was thinking that, did he mean about kissing me and other stuff? She was imagining him while he was saying, "Let's pick up where we left off," and he's removing his clothes. She was saying, "Oh my gosh, is he ready to take things to the next level?" But wait, Mr. Kang, I need some time to mentally prepare myself. But then she realized something and thinking that, I should call him Kang now, not Mr. Kang. But then she again covered her face and started to roll over on her bed while saying, "But Mr. Kang sounds more sexy." She was saying, "No, Mr. Kang, please slow down." She stood up and shouting, "What is wrong with me? Why is my mind always filled with naughty thoughts?" And then she remembered what Kang said earlier at that time. He said, I will make sure to fill Soran's life with happy memories. So she was thinking that I should snap out of it and think, what can I do for him? On the other side, Kang was driving his car and thinking that I was going to suggest that we actually start living together tonight. But I will just talk to her when I get back. On the next morning, at the office, Soran met Sunbae. She said, you look so sharp in that turtleneck. It looks great on you. Where did you get it? He laughed and said, I know I look good in everything I wear. I got it at the clothing store in front of our office. Soran said, I'm thinking of buying one for Kang too. Would you mind helping me pick me one? Sunbae said, I don't mind. But doesn't he hate having things touch his neck? She smiled and said, that's exactly why I want to get one for him. Sunbae did not understand what she was trying to say. Soran said, let's go shopping during lunch, okay? He replied, okay, sure. He looked towards Soran and said, hey Soran. She replied, yes, what are you saying? He said, it looks like you are enjoying married life. She looked towards him and laughed. She replied, yes, very much so. After hearing this, Sunbae thinking about the contract and said, yes, I am glad to hear that. At the night she was sitting on the sofa. With the present she bought for Kang, she was thinking that this is something I can do for Kang. She was remembering their earlier talk. At that time Soran asked, what is tactile defensiveness? Kang replied, yes, I developed the condition after my kidnapping incident. It is a form of post-traumatic stress disorder. Soran asked, so is that also why you are afraid of thunderstorm? Kang replied, yes, although I was able to survive because the storm put out the fire. She was thinking that there was also thunderstorm on the day my brother injured himself while trying to protect me from a suspicious man. That's why I don't really like that type of weather either. Kang said, my condition is not incurable. I think some people overcome it by trying different things. But I have just decided to live with it since it's not a huge inconvenience. He looked towards her and said, I feel a little better when I'm with you. If you are so worried, then help me overcome it. At the current time she was thinking that he's the one who brought it up, and plus who knows, with my help he might actually get better. So tactile defensiveness. I can help him overcome it. By purposefully exposing him to uncomfortable situations and helping him gradually get used to the sensation. The bell started to ring. She was thinking that he's here. She stood up and said, Kang, you are here? He replied, yes, I am. In an excited state she said, take your shirt off. Kang was shocked after hearing this and asked, what? She said, let's give it a go. He again asked, give what a go? She came towards him and started to remove his shirt and said, come on, hurry up, remove it. He said, wait, can you explain what's happening? But then he slipped and fall on the ground. Soran came above him, and then she realized something is off. I am in an awkward position. With a blushy face she said, I'm so sorry I got ahead of myself. But then Kang interrupted her. He was touching his shirt and said, I had no idea that you like it rough, Soran. So he removed his shirt very fastly and said, go ahead. Do what you want with me. I'm all yours. After seeing his naked body, her face became totally red. She was thinking that, oh my God, I think there is about to be a change of plans. With a blushy face she took out his gift and said, I bought this for treatment purpose. I thought you could start by wearing these turtleneck. See how you react and gradually increase exposure until your condition improves. He was looking at her. She asked, please try it on. He said, I want you to do it. She said, sorry, what did you say? But then he grabbed her and said, I want you to put it on me. After that sudden movement, Soran was trying to calm herself by not thinking about naughty thoughts. She was reminding her to think about nice thought. And you are doing this to treat his condition. She said, okay then, I will help you. After that, when he was wearing the t-shirt, Her heart was beating very fastly. She was thinking that I can't see his pecs anymore. That's too bad. But I'm kind of digging this view too. I can see his abs and a bit of his pelvis bone. Guess whose muscles these are? They are my husband's. My husband is so hot. It's so hard to resist the urge. And then she covered her face due to the shyness. She was thinking that, come on, I'm doing this to help him. Why does my mind keep having these naughty thoughts? Kang was thinking that Soran often acts like very strange. He was looking at her pretty face and thinking that, how am I supposed to hold back when she's this adorable? He grabbed her from her waist and pulled towards himself. Both of them were very close to each other, and the heartbeat rate was very fast. But then suddenly Kang was feeling uneasiness on his neck. Soran asked Kang, does it feel suffocating? He said yes, a little. After hearing his reply in a hurry, she stood up and started to remove his t-shirt. She said, take it off now, hurry. He replied, slow down. After removing the t-shirt, she asked, was that too much for our first try? He said, no, I was okay for the first few seconds because you put it on me. She was very happy after hearing his reply. She said, let's keep trying. I know that we will solve this together. Kang was thinking that right now. Soran said, that's right. We are married now and have vowed to spend the rest of our lives together. I like the sound of we and forever. Soran was thinking that, why do I keep having cramps in my lower belly? Kang said, there's something we have to take care of first. Let's scrap our contract and live together. After hearing this, she was surprised and said, I was actually going to talk to you about that also. But then she stopped talking due to her stomach cramps. She was feeling uneasiness, so she turned away from him. He asked, what's wrong, do you feel sick? She replied, no, I just need a minute. And then in the washroom she was sitting and thinking that, I knew it, it's my time of the month. I had a feeling it was coming, but why now? After a while Soran came out of the washroom and said, I need a week. How about we discuss this again in a week? He asked, in a week, but why? She said, well, we might need some time to think. He asked, about what do you want to think? She said, for instance, how we are going to arrange the furniture. He replied, it's only the arranged. But then she closed her eyes and said, let's move in together after a week. And then she started to move away from him. Kang was confused and thinking that, why does she need a week? I didn't understand. When she was going downstairs, she looked at her mobile phone and said, I got a text from Kang's grandfather. And the text was, my dear Soran, are you free for lunch tomorrow? And then on the next day both Soran and Kang's grandfather were sitting together in the restaurant. Her grandfather said, I am sorry to take time out of your busy schedule. She said, please don't be. I'm sorry I have not come to visit you. He said, well, the reason why I asked to see you is because I need your bank account number. Please write it here for me. She was looking at the paper slip that Kang's grandfather gave her. She said, pardon, why do you need my bank account number? He said, I also need to know how much money you owe Jin-sung's family. She said, no, the debt is mine, I'm going to repay it. He replied, my goodness, I'm so hurt. This is the only thing this poor old man can do for you. He removed his specs and with a crying face he said, but if you would not let me do this, then what else can I do besides kick the bucket? Soran was thinking that, oh no, what do I do? And then in a sudden moment she wrote her bank details and said, here you go. With a laugh he took the paper and said, look, like our dear Soran is weak to tears. He said, but there was some truth to what I said. You already know that I owe a huge debt to Kang and my late son. And I'm willing to do anything if it means I can repay even a fraction of that debt. By helping you I will be helping, and being able to help means so much to me. He bowed towards her and said, please allow me to repay my debt and ease this burden I have been carrying. After hearing all of this, she started to cry and said, "Thank you. I will never forget this favor." He said, "I'm very glad I can help. You are the one doing me a favor." He said, "Actually, it might be rude of me to ask you this, but I do have a question for you." She said, "You can ask me anything, so please don't worry about it." He said, "How did you end up owing money to Jin Sang?" She said the reason behind this that one night a fire broke out at my brother's restaurant. We had to compensate to all the business in the building for the damages. But somehow Jin Sang found out about our situation and took care of everything. I was just about to break things off with him after I caught him cheating. But then suddenly Kang's grandfather interrupted her and said, "A fire, you say?" On the other side at the Jin Sung's house, he was laying on his bed, and in an anger he was shouting, "The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Kang, that bastard, he stole my inheritance and my Soran." His mother said, "I know it's not fair, baby." He said, "I wish that jerk would just drop dead." She replied, "Your mama's got a plan. I'm going to make sure my sweet Jin Sang gets everything back." She was thinking that because fire leaves nothing behind. At home, Kang and Soran was sitting together. Kang asked, "My grandfather paid off your debt?" She replied, "Yes, it was a large sum of money. But he was so generous. I feel so grateful and sorry at the same time." With a bright smile, she said, "I'm going to do my best to show him how much I appreciate him." After seeing her expression, he said, "That sounded like something a wife should say." She replied, "What, a wife? Well, I am your wife, but we did do things out of order, so it feels so good to hear that." He said there is a way to make the word wife sound less awkward. After saying it, he stood up and came close to her. He was touching her chin and said, "We can just do things that married couples typically do." He came above her and was about to kiss her. With a blushy face, she was thinking that whenever this man gets a chance, he finds a way to make my heart flutter. If he keeps this up, then I can't do anything, because I love it. But then suddenly she felt the stomach cramp. So she stood up and said, "I have a busy morning tomorrow, so I should go to bed early. Good night." He was thinking that why did she do this? Is she trying to mess with me on purpose? To slowly suck the life out of me before the week is up. But then he was thinking that it did seem like she was in pain just now. She is in pain and needs a week. And then he realized what's going on. On the next day, he specially prepared a meal for her. She said, "What is all this? It's not even a special holiday." He came from behind her and wrapped her up in warm clothes. When they were sitting in the car, he asked, "Is the temperature okay? Are the seats warm? Is it too dry in here?" He was taking care of her because he knows what's going on and why she need a week. He was shaking the hot pad so that she can use it. He covered her all over from that and said, "Call me when you get off work. I will come pick you up." And then he leave for his office. Soran was thinking that what is this? He's taking too much care of me. On the other side at the grandfather house, the grandpa was sitting with Jin Sang's mother. He said, "It's very bold of you to come here. I did not expect you to pay me a visit after I humiliated you at my grandson's wedding." She replied, "Oh goodness, everything you said was right. I was out of line that day." She said, "I actually dropped by to not only say hello, but also to apologize for my behavior at wedding." Grandpa was thinking that an apology from someone as wicked as you, please. I know you have an ulterior motive. But let's hear what you have to say. The grandpa said, "All right. I was also a little too harsh that day. I'm sorry as well." In a villainous look, she looked towards him. But then with a fake smile she said, "Oh, don't worry, Chairman. I had taken Soran under my wing as she was Jin Sung's girlfriend for many years, so I reacted a little emotionally. I only meant to tell you a few things about her, but ended up getting carried away." The grandpa said, "All right, I understand. I'm sure you know Soran better than I do." The woman said she is good with money, and is also very attentive. "She will be a great help to Kang in his work," the grandpa said. "I see. I'm glad to hear that." And then with a fake smile, she said her only flaw is that she has a step-brother. Other than that, she's just perfect. The grandpa was looking at her and said, "A step-brother?" The woman replied, "Oh my gosh, I thought you knew. I wonder why she hid such an important thing from you. Oh dear me and my big mouth." The grandpa said, "No, please continue, I should know about this." The woman said, "I found it strange that she seemed so distant from Jin Sang, but was so loving and dedicated to her older brother. She even borrowed money from us, saying there was a problem at her brother's restaurant. I mean, a man and a woman living together under one roof when they are not related by blood. It seemed a little suspicious to me now," and then she laughed. The grandpa was thinking that she's rotten to the core. How could someone be so evil? Soran and her brother have relied on each other through hard times. How dare she try to distort that? The woman said Soran borrowed quite a lot of money from us, but suddenly she managed to pay it all of yesterday. Which made me think that this is why she married to Kang. I mean, where do you think that money came from? The grandpa said, "All right, I see. He was thinking that. I get it now. That's what she came here to say. I guess her goal is to do whatever she can to cause a rift in our family. But she just made a mistake. A fire broke out at Soran's brother restaurant. Then Ji Sang somehow found out and gave Soran money to pay for the damages. And he and his mother used that fact to threaten Soran until very recently. Thanks to this woman, I came to realize what is going on. So thanks for making me realize that these things were not just coincidences. I don't have long to live, but there is something I need to take care of." At the office, Kang asked Rin did not come in for work. His friend replied, "Yes, she says she is not feeling well. We have a lot to do today. What are we gonna do?" Kang said, "Well, we don't have a choice. We will have to work late." He took out his phone and thinking that Soren has cramps, but I would not be able to go pick her up. "Rin, you are of no help." So he typed a message to Soran. In the message he said, "Rin was sick, and because she was not feeling well, I have to work late, so I would not be able to pick you up today." Soran read the message. Kang realized that. Why, I keep forgetting that I was able to marry Soran thanks to Rin. Plus she's going through a hard time. So he said, "I'm sorry." His friend said, "Whoa, are you apologizing to me right now because you are making me work late? You are scaring me, man, stop it." Kang said, "Shut up and get back to work." Kang heard a notification sound, so he took out his phone and saw a message from Soran. The message says, "Kang, do you know Rin's home address?" He gave her address. And then after a while, Soran was standing in front of Rin's house. She opened the door. Soran said, "I heard you were feeling under the weather, so I came to check in on you." Rin asked, "What are you wearing?" Soran laughed and said, "It's a long story. Can I come in?" Rin said, "I'm not going to turn away someone who is here to see me. I'm not that rude." While entering into her house, Soran said, "I figured you might have trouble keeping food down, so I brought you some side dishes." Rin asked, "What side dishes?" Soran said, "Yes, my brother made them. His regular customers often say they have no trouble eating his food, even when they are feeling sick or nauseous. A woman with morning sickness also said good things about his food, so I brought some things he made just in case. So I laid everything out on the table. Go on, dig in." Rin said, "Okay, I will start eating." Soran said, "My brother's young summer radish kimchi is incredible." She was about to eat the food. Soran asked, "Do you have a nickname for the baby?" She said, "No, not yet." While eating the food, started to cry and thinking that Why does this taste so good? Soran asked, do you not like it? Rin replied, I just thought of one nickname for the baby. It is Yolmu, which means young summer reddish in Korean. She started to cry very badly and said, that's what I will call the baby. In her mind, Rin was thinking that I miss you. I miss you so much, Seangjun. On the other side, Kang was talking to his grandpa. Kang replied that you are asking for the address of my brother-in-law's restaurant. Yes, I have it. I will send it to you, Kang said, but the restaurant location is in the neighborhood of Yunbu. After hearing this, his grandfather said, oh, I see. What a strange coincidence. Kang replied, I was also pretty surprised at first, because everything happened in that area. His grandfather said, right, I see. And you don't have to come to see me. I know you are busy. It's New Year's Day, so I've got a lot to do. Anyway, I will talk to you again soon, so bye. After cutting the call, Kang was thinking that looking back, there were some hard times. But now I have Soran in my life. Soran knocked on the door and opened it. After seeing her, he smiled, and both of them were standing in front of the window. Kang was thinking that she is someone who makes me forget all the pain and brings me nothing but happiness. Soran said, it's so beautiful outside. Kang looked towards her and said, you are more beautiful. And both of them were staring at each other. Kang was thinking that I want to shield her from any pain or misfortune, and then both of them hugged and started to kiss each other. On the next day, Jin Sang was sitting on his knees in front of his father's grave. His mother was looking at him. He was saying, oh father, I'm such a bad son. I'm sorry I have not come to see you more often. His mother was thinking that, Moho, because of your incompetent son, the company nearly went out of business more times than I can count. But I stepped in every time to save it from going under. My husband, you led a sad life as well after losing all the good companies to your older brother. But my family is different from yours. My father taught me how to protect my wealth. Her father said to her that if someone takes something from you, you must get it back by any means necessary, even if you can't make it yours. You must retrieve what was stolen for your children and your descendants. I didn't quite understand what my father meant then, but then the fire incident. And when her father was laying on the hospital bed, he was saying there is still one thing left. He said to her that you worked so hard to marry into that family, you must take back what is yours. At the current time, she was thinking that everything would have been fine if we should just gotten rid of that boy. But by some extraordinary miracle, that Don Khan even survived a kidnapping too, so I am going to be more stealth and more precise. I would not fail this time. On Kang and Soran's house, Soran was holding a feather. Kang asked, what's that? She replied, it is a feather. He said, right, I know it's a feather, but what is it for? She said, oh, I got this to help you overcome tactile defensiveness. I'm going to use it to lightly stimulate your neck area. Kang was looking at her and thinking that I take back what I said earlier. Soran steps up other feelings in me aside from just happiness. She said, come now and have a seat. She said, all right, here I go. And then she started to touch the feather on his neck. He was thinking that she is a force that continues to test my patience, a vixen that determined to kill me. He was moving his head due to the tickliness and the uneasiness. Soran was looking at him and thinking that, oh God, why does this man look so hot? The way he's looking at me makes me want to climb on top of him and do something naughty. But then she shook her head, and thinking that why do I keep doing this? I'm trying to treat his condition. He was not able to control his body and it was shaking in a very unique way. Soran was forcing herself to think only about nice thoughts. He was making a blushy face and unique expressions. She closed her eyes and again thinking only about nice thoughts. After a while at the office, Kang was sitting on his chair and thinking that how much longer do I have to wait? Has it been a week yet? His friend said, Kang, why do you look so pent up? Weren't you and Soren must be all over each other since you are newlyweds? Is that still not enough? Kang was thinking that was an unnecessarily accurate observation, but he's only half right. But then suddenly a notification came into his mobile phone. He took the phone, but after seeing the message, he was surprised at this extent, that he fall on the ground. His friend came towards him and asked Kang, are you okay? But then he saw Kang's expression. Kang was making a blushy face with a smile. His friend asked, did you hurt your head? The message was from Soren, and in the message she said, should we move into the same bedroom tonight? He replied her, which was mistyped as sound gu. She was thinking that he replied right away. Kang said, sorry, that was mistyped. I am saying that it sounds good. After reading the message, she was smiling with a blushy face and thinking that my shark week is over. And we are going to start sleeping in the same room tonight. I'm so excited just thinking about it. She was lost in her thoughts. But then someone knocked on the door. It was Sunbae. He said, Soren, you have to go down to the courthouse, right? So do I. Let me give you a ride. Soren said, okay, thank you, Sunbae. They were sitting on the car and Soren were smiling continuously. Sunbae was looking at her, but she was making a weird expression. Sunbae was confused. At the red light he stopped his car and asked Soren, are you enjoying married life? With a bright smile she said, yes, of course, very much so. Sunbae was thinking that a fake marriage complete with a contract. Is she trying to put on a good face? But after seeing her expression, that she's smiling so sweetly. But if all this is just an act, then I'm going to make Kang pay for it. But then suddenly someone hit their car from the back. Both of them felt the collision. Sunbae was looking back and saying, what the hell? He came out of the car. That's all for today's video. If you want to know what happened next, then like and subscribe. Alchemy Animation YouTube channel.